Welcome to How Do They Afford That, the podcast that peeks into the financial lives of everyday Australians. I'm Michael Thompson. I'm a writer and the co-host of the podcast Fear and Greed Business News. And as I am every week, I'm joined by Canna Campbell, financial planner and founder of Sugar Mama TV, which is the financial literacy platform covering YouTube, podcasts, books, Instagram, threads.
And keynotes. I've been doing a lot of keynote speaking for big organisations and businesses.
Oh, really?
Yeah, talking about financial wellness, women and money, superannuation, budgeting, cash flow, debt reduction.
And see, the beauty of this podcast is that we get to hear a lot of those same kind of lessons here for free.
Exactly. Which is condensed in like a 25-minute multivitamin tablet every Wednesday morning.
I've never considered this podcast to be a multivitamin kind of tablet. Look, today, Frugal February, or Fruitful Frugal February, as you renamed it a few weeks ago, it's coming to an end. And if you haven't, look, I know that it's nearly finished, but if you haven't listened to that episode, it was on a few weeks back. It's worth going back and having a listen because there's just some really good tips on how to kind of save a bit of money. And you can apply those tips at any point. It doesn't have to be in February, but that is coming to an end.
Yes.
Fruitful February is ending, but that's okay. You're not too sad just at this point because as Frugal February leaves us, it makes way for your next favourite month of the year, Manifesting March.
This is where I just come alive with motivation, passion, excitement, and just feel like this emancipation, unleashing into life.
I'm sorry. I am rolling my eyes a little bit, and I shouldn't. I shouldn't go into this skeptically, but I am because I struggle with the concept of manifesting March, and that is what today's episode is all about. But I struggle with it because you are somebody who deals in numbers. You are somebody who deals in maths and compound interest and risk profiles and investments and all of this kind of thing.
And taxes and compliance and laws and fees and returns and risks. Yep, very mathematical.
And that is all very concrete.
Yes.
That is all very very definite. And you could open up a spreadsheet for all of those things. But then we get into March. And suddenly flick this switch and it's all about manifesting, which is it has to be one of the most out there kind of alternative kind of woo-woo. Is that how you've described it in the past?
Baloney, tree hugging, crystal rubbing, incense burning, cuckoo, crackpot stuff. Yeah, no.
So today...
No, it's not.
Well, that's what I want to find out today. I want to find out how the two sides of you, the spreadsheet money side and the manifesting side, how they coexist and whether manifesting can actually make a difference to your money.
I have a lot to share with you. We're going to go deep this morning.
All right. Well, let's start at the beginning. What is manifesting March?
Look, manifestation is just simply transporting something that is floating around in your head like an aspiration, a dream, a goal, and putting it into reality. And to transfer into reality, yes, you do need to do things physically in your life to help make that happen. But the magic behind manifestation is really like releasing any self-limiting beliefs and learning how to grow through any blocks that you have in your life, particularly money blocks. But really, if I look at the end of the day, it's about changing your mindset and your money mindset. One thing that just continuously stood out to me as a financial planner, dealing with people in lots of different situations, facing lots of different challenges. And when I looked at the clients of mine that just thrived, they just continuously were achieving their goals and going from strength to strength, versus the ones that were sort of dragging the chain and, always saying, gosh, it's so hard, gosh, things are so expensive, didn't get enough of a pay rise or didn't get that promotion or the promotion isn't good enough. I could see a big difference. And what it really boiled down to was their mindset. Each of those clients were facing similar challenges. Actually, some were much harder than others, but the ones that showed up every single day with tenacity, focus, determination, commitment, and looked at each day as an opportunity to learn and grow and become wiser and more resilient, just seemed to be thriving in life and seemed so much happier And the proof was in the pudding. Their financial goals were being achieved a lot faster than anyone else. And in having conversations with my clients about what are they doing differently, what's their attitude, what's their mindset, I could see a really big difference. And it uncovered some very powerful conversations throughout, the last 20 years that I learned a lot about how you show up is so incredibly important if you want sustainable change and growth and development in your life, not just obviously money, but also in all other components of your life. And obviously I picked up a lot of information over time and read a lot about it and tried lots of different things myself. And now I really believe if you want to get ahead with money, you really need to spend time first investing in your mindset. And if you're open to it, applying some principles around manifestation so that you can see more results, faster results, bigger results, but also actually have more fun along the way.
Okay, then how do we practically do it? Then I completely understand that about changing your mindset, because that just feels like it is just almost like a good mental health thing as well, to change the approach that you take to everyday kind of challenges, and suddenly everything just seems a little bit more achievable. If you're not seeing it as an obstacle or a blockage, if you're seeing the potential to get past that, then it does feel like it is going to be more achievable and more attainable. How do you actually do that then, say, for March? Because this month is Manifesting March. Do you kind of set a goal? Do you write it down? Do you have to go, by the end of this month, I'm going to have conquered my credit card or something like that? Or by the end of this month, I am going to save $500? Is it that kind of tangible that you actually physically write it down, and in doing so, you download it out of your head onto the paper, and then it's out there in the universe?
Absolutely. So one of the first things is in that transportation from being something that's intangible and floating around in your head and basically birthing it, if you like, into reality is to write it down. And money loves definition and clarity. That is so incredibly important, because when you actually put something down, your mindset organically changes and you start looking at ideas, inspiration, strategies, solutions to actually help manifest successfully that goal, that aspiration, that dream. So write it down. That is incredibly important.
You've talked in the past about things like a vision board and stuff like that. Is this kind of all feeding into the same area, that you should be kind of putting pictures of the boat up that you want or something like that? Or is it just more simple that you just kind of write it down in a diary, or you put it on a piece of paper and pin it to your wall that says, I'm going to make $500 extra. I'm going to save $500 this month.
So to do manifestation, there are so many different techniques out there, and some particular techniques are, I guess, become people's favorites, their go-to. But you can do affirmations where you look at yourself in the mirror and you say, I am great with money. I am learning something new about money every day. I am actively working on my goal to save $500 by the, 22nd of March 2024. So you can use affirmations. That's definitely very powerful. You can also do journaling as well, which is something which is quite a deep spiritual work where people connect with how they're feeling and create an awareness as to any blocks that they might have so they can release those blocks. You can do vision boards, which I think is a fantastic way of really bringing your goals to life. But the one thing I will say with vision boards is don't just focus on the end result. Like you said, put a picture of the boat that you want. You've got to include the process, the beginning, the middle, and the end. So you would put on your vision board maybe images of you looking at boats, inspecting boats, images perhaps of you saving money, transferring money into that separate dedicated savings account, picking out the interior of your boat. So you've got to go all the way through, not just the end result, because manifestation has a journey. You can't just expect the end. You go through a process and you have to put the physical work in to help make it happen. And with a vision board, it can get really creative. You can use, obviously, images, but then I know people that use keywords and symbols and numbers and initials and colors and textures, and they get really creative, like a collage. And I know myself personally, I actually use Canva to do my vision board every year.
Okay, that makes more sense, because I kind of pictured it as
getting creative with the glue gun.
Yes, exactly. And you know how, like, when you're in kind of like kindy, and you are there with magazines and you're cutting out the letters and you're sticking them all on, and all of a sudden your vision board actually looks like a ransom letter. Like, and so, well, my vision this year, my goal is not to be kidnapped. That's basically it. So Canva makes a lot more sense because you can visually make it look nice. You can kind of put pictures in there. You can
exactly,
put some
and you
text
can
in there.
update it. And, you know, if it says you achieve a particular goal, you can maybe update it. But the other thing I love about Canva and doing my vision board through it is obviously very easy to do, and it's, you know, it's quite fast. But also I have it saved on my phone, and then I have it saved on my desktop, and I have it saved on my iPad, and then I have it saved on my laptop.
So you can just look at it whenever you need a bit of a motivation
source of
boost.
inspiration. And also a vision board, I think, really helps you get through a tough day, or, you know, if you've had a bit of a setback or a challenge, which are naturally part of life. It just reminds you to hang in there, keep going. It's all worth it. There's light at the end of the tunnel. You know, this is what you're working on, and it will happen. Just head up, shoulders back, and keep going. And I think that's, particularly in a world like this, we're filled with, you know, a lot of fear and anxiety, and with such a dynamic world, and there's lots of stresses and pressures. We all need a little bit of that along the way. And then, of course, there is visualization, which I think is one of the most powerful manifestation techniques. But
What's that?
Visualization is where you see yourself either in the first person or in the third person doing the task and succeeding. Now, a lot of people think this is a bit like just complete and absolute like wish-wash stuff. But if you talk to anyone who's at the top of their game, whether they be a barrister, a sports star, an actor, if you ask them about what mental preparation they do, they will tell you, well, you know, before a big game, I will imagine myself kicking that goal or winning that try. Or an actor will say, well, I imagine myself standing on the podium, accepting the award, giving my speech. Or a barrister will say, well, I practiced in my head my winning argument and connecting with the judge and convincing a jury. They will do all this mental preparation in their head. A surgeon, for example, will do the same. These are the people who are at the top of their game, the top of their field, really succeeding in life. They do a lot of this, but they don't necessarily call it manifestation. They just call it mental preparation. And that's why I talked about the importance of a mindset, which I will have to say, a lot of people don't show up for their goals with the right mindset. They use fear and scarcity and panic and worries drive them, which is not a great sustainable source of energy. If you really want to keep going and get ahead financially, it's so important to empower yourself with the right type of, I guess, mental nutrients, you could say.
Oh, and back to the multivitamin that we started with. Feels like there's a theme developing today. So, in a moment, I want to get to more of how we use this then for money, and how we kind of use it perhaps to kind of create money out of nowhere. I'm assuming that's kind of what we're doing here. But one more technique, because you mentioned affirmations, journaling, vision boards, visualization. I have read online about the 369, is it 369 technique or the method? And it sounds a little bit odd.
Do you think?
Well, yeah, isn't it like that you have to kind of, you're basically chanting to yourself like 3 times in the morning and then 6 times at lunch and then 9 times at dinner. And in doing so, by the end of the day, you'll be so motivated that, well, I mean, then it's time to go to bed. Then you've got to start it again the next day. Like, does it actually work? 369?
It does sound a little bit cult-like, like
It
chanting.
Yes, yes.
But look, I believe in affirmations. Even this morning, I was driving during the daycare drop-off, and of course, we were running 30 minutes late, as per usual, and I was starting to feel a little bit negative. So as I'm driving, I started saying to myself in my head, like, Canna, you're doing a great job. You're a great mother. You know, it's going to be okay. And I think that it did actually really help me kind of snap out of my mood. So with this particular technique, obviously, it's really reaffirming some positive statements to yourself that are in the present tense. They're uplifting, they're empowering, and they're focused around what you really are trying to achieve.
Yeah.
And obviously that repetition is very important. So it helps, I guess, dull down any sort of negative self-talk or, you know, that inner critic that we've all got a little bit lurking within us. So then what it does is, because you're talking about what you want, if you're doing it correctly, it helps the brain actually identify solutions around you that will help you achieve that goal. It is quite intense doing it 3 times in the morning, 6 times in the middle of the day, and then 9 at night. However, I do think it really does have a big impact on people. Personally, I don't do affirmations every single day because I do a variety of different things every single day. But I do think it's a very powerful technique for people who find that kind of sort of inner self-talk really important. But it's got to be the affirmation that you use for this must be positive, must be in the present tense, and must be in positive alignment to what you're actually trying to create for yourself. So you would say, I am saving money for my deposit. I'm excited about saving this money for my deposit. I am going to buy my first property by this particular date. It is happening. Like, that is what you've got to continuously say. And also it makes you accountable as well, because it reminds you, hang on, don't go and spend and waste that money there, because this is what you've said is really important to you. It gives you, I guess, more of a deeper connection and passion and commitment to what you're working on.
I have a feeling that I went into this episode today with the wrong mindset. Now that we're talking about mindsets, and here I am going, you know what? I don't believe in any of this claptrap. And now I'm seeing the logic behind it.
Well, I have to say, you said something at the beginning of this episode and you talked about mindset, and you said, well, you know, a positive mindset seems like common sense. And for someone who's quite cynical and critical, I was really happy to hear how you had this positive attitude around a money mindset, because that was not what I was expecting. I think you're kind of on board with this. And I actually think secretly, deep down, you are a manifester.
It would have to be very deep down, I suspect. But it's surprising, actually, the number of people that I've heard say, I'm bad with money. And it's just their default setting. They just go, oh no, I couldn't do that. I'm bad with money, or I'm a really bad spender. I've got no control. And it's almost as though they're admitting defeat before they've even started.
100%. How is that person going to succeed with that goal with a mindset like that? How does that serve them in any way that is positive whatsoever?
Okay. There is still this a slight kind of misalignment to me between kind of the mental kind of side of it and the very practical kind of thing, how you actually turn that money mindset into extra cash in your hand. But we're going to figure that one out in just a moment. All right, Kanna, we're talking about manifesting today, and we've really focused so far on mindset and the importance of having a positive money mindset. And we've talked a bit about some of the techniques that you can use to manifest in terms of affirmations and journaling and vision boards and visualizations. The part that I think I struggle with a little bit is then how you actually translate that into, and how you see the proof that it is actually changing your money outcome. Because I suppose it's more than just opening yourself up to the flow of money, isn't it? It's one thing to go, you know what, for the month of March, I'm open to money coming in, but you actually need to change your physical actions as well. So you need to start saying yes to things.
Yes, you've got to say yes, and you've got to step up. It's not going to magically land in your lap necessarily.
Yeah.
So first of all, it's about opening up a separate dedicated savings account purely for this particular challenge.
Oh, okay.
So you can actually see the proof and watch it grow. And the reason why I recommend this is because you can actually show gratitude towards that money that goes into that account. And as Oprah likes to say, what we appreciate appreciates. And the more we see, the more we get, which is Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. So what you would then do once you've opened up the account, I recommend nicknaming it, Manifesting March Money or My Manifestation Money, or even put your goal as the nickname in that account.
Mm-hmm.
And then you do something very important. This is the practical side, is you brainstorm. You open up yourself to the flow of money, but you start writing the ideas that come to you. So you look at your situation and go, all right, what can I do to quickly come up with some money? So one of the easiest and fastest go-to places is to look at what you can sell. Now, according to Gumtree, the average household has 5,200 worth of unused, unwanted, unloved things that they don't actually need anymore. So perhaps you now go grab your phone, download the Gumtree app and start listing, or you maybe even put them on Facebook Marketplace, but you start looking at things you can release and create some lightness in your life and space in your life.
I love this. This is fantastic because we are actually now getting into something practical.
I told you I was going to give you practical. I'm not like it's about kumbaya millions of dollars.
I thought this was how the universe would deliver us cash. I honestly thought that at the start of this episode. I'm like, okay, here we go. I'm opening myself up to the flow of money, and all of a sudden I win kind of the universal lotto or something. It's just money lands in the account. No, I like this. Practical. Start your savings account. Give it a nickname that actually kind of ties it to this challenge. Manifesting, whatever you want to do, or the name of the goal that you're actually setting. And then sit down and brainstorm. Start putting some ideas to paper.
But also act on those ideas.
Oh, yeah, like that's important.
Yeah, because I really believe you get all these amazing light bulb moments when you open yourself up. But if you don't jump on those ideas, especially the ones that obviously that are applicable and relevant to you, they evaporate and the universe stops giving them to you. So you've got to write them down and give them a good go. So selling things, perhaps you jump online and do some surveys on, which can sometimes, yes, it only may be $5 here, $10 here, but those can quickly add up. And that might be the first deposit that you put into that very special new savings account of yours.
Can I ask you a very quick question on that one? How do you find those surveys? Because everything feels like, this is again me being cynical and skeptical, everything feels like a scam online.
You've got to be careful. So read the reviews before you, enroll.
Yeah.
But Octopus is one that a lot of people have recommended to me. I personally haven't done that one, but I use Askable. I get sent probably a couple of text messages a week, and sometimes they can lead to really good market research jobs. I actually did a market research one that paid me $500 for about an hour. Yeah, which was unbelievable. They
didn't like attach electrodes or anything to you. It wasn't like full on kind of scientific research. You can actually
become work for a market research company that does, medical testing as well. That's another one that pays quite well.
Really?
Yes, that's definitely available for people. So look, Google is the first place to start, but obviously do your research, common sense, read reviews, make sure it's obviously completely legitimate. And, I actually put a grid every now and again up on my social media with all the market research companies that I'm personally enrolled in with. So there's like Chat for Cash. Oh my gosh, there's so many of them out there. That DML's another one. Like there's a whole list of them. So I share these on a regular basis. You can also do secret shopping.
That one would be one of my dream jobs.
Well, why are you doing? You should be doing Manifesting March with me.
Yeah, but okay. How do I do this? How do I become one of those kind of secret kind of mystery shoppers?
You've got to enroll in it with the companies, and then they will select you when they'll be saying, okay, well we're looking for males to do some secret shopping at say Bunnings.
Yeah.
We need a male between the age of 25 to 55.
Really good looking.
And then they'll reach out to you, send you an email or text message saying, are you available for this particular job? It's paying $90 cash, blah blah blah. So you've got to sort of plant these seeds. Another thing that I think is also underestimated is conversations. So book in a meeting with your boss to say, look, I know we've already had our pay reviews, but I'm really looking to progress my career and look at increasing my earning capacity. What possible steps do I have in front of me to work up the corporate ladder or, climb the corporate ladder here? Start having those conversations, letting them know that you're interested, or perhaps and then you never know what may come from that. They may say, well, look, why don't you look at doing this course? Because we're looking for a new person to fill this particular role. You could be the perfect candidate for this position. Or someone might say to you, you know what? There's a potential role coming up because someone's going on maternity leave. So open up these conversations because it's quite incredible what they may lead to.
And before you do that, you have to go back and listen to the episode that we did of this podcast called How to Ask for a Pay Rise, I think we did.
Oh, with Adam, yes.
With Adam Lang, our colleague from Fear and Greed, who knows this space so well because he has run big companies and he knows how to have these conversations, and he goes through step by step the things you need to prepare and the kind of questions that you need to ask and the answers that you need to be prepared to give. And so that these are fantastic conversations to have, and you should be having them with your employer. But there is some easy steps that you can take beforehand to make sure that it's actually going to be a productive conversation. Sorry to hijack there, but
that's extremely important. And, perhaps, doing Manifesting March is an opportunity for you to then go, okay, well, maybe I need to look at moving companies or maybe I need to look at moving to a different state or a different country. There are all these different things that can kind of come out of just opening yourself up to different ideas and opportunities for you to jump on. And, when you're looking at earning extra money from a practical point of view, are there things you can rent out? I know when I was a single mother before Tom and I lived together, both Tom and I would rent places out. So I would go and Rocco and I would stay with him at his place and rent my place out, and then we'd swap and he would rent his place out. I even spoke to a single mother that was going through a divorce and she rented out her wardrobe.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that cool? Yeah. And she now has something like 140 dresses that she rents out every single week. So it's actually become a business for her.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And you can rent out handbags and shoes and jewelry. Even I have a girlfriend who rents out vintage designer jewelry. So it is quite incredible. You can rent your car out, parking spot. People can even what's it called? Couch surfing.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So there's lots of different things you can do. You can obviously then do a letterbox drop or put some notes up on the community notice board about maybe doing dog walking or car wash. It's
so all these little things that you need to come up with the ideas in the first place. You actually just need to sit down and brainstorm and put them on paper and then pick the ones that you can do. And act on them.
Exactly. But the moment you have that money, it is so important that you deposit it into that account because this is purely for this challenge.
And deposit it at the post office. Can I just say, you take the card for the account that you want to put it into and you basically just swipe that, they take the money and it's in your account pretty much instantly. And it's so much easier than having to kind of go into a shopping centre or across a few suburbs and find your bank branch.
I'm actually I didn't know about that, to be honest.
I am momentarily speechless.
The other thing I will also say is I'm going to share something quite confidential. Are you ready?
Oh, please. Oh, this is fantastic. Go on.
So last year I manifested, during Manifesting March, $42,000.
What?
Yeah.
How?
So I hustled my little heart out, but I did so many different things and I did exhaust myself. But all these conversations and ideas that I didn't necessarily pay off until later on in the year, but I kickstarted the process and the journey in March. So I planted those seeds then, and then they came to fruition later on in the year. So I was able to use that opportunity. And I watched all of that money slowly, very, very slowly and painfully accumulate. It was only exclusively from doing things during the month of March.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
Mm.
What a fantastic result.
That's why I teach people now how to do this for themselves. And I'm really serious about it because if I hadn't actually created that goal for myself in the first place, I would not be $42,000 better off.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So in terms of then, we've got the savings account, we've got our brainstormed list of ideas, we are acting on those ideas, and then once we've made some money, we're depositing it straight into that account.
And one thing is, the big thing about manifestation is about gratitude and respect.
Oh, okay.
So when you deposit that money into that account, you take a moment for yourself to check in and see how you feel about that and to say thank you because, as I said, what we appreciate appreciates. So it's about going, okay, wow, it's $10, $15, but it's a great place to start and I can build up from that. And this actually feels good because I'm doing things differently. I'm coming from a place of self-respect and I'm releasing those self-limiting beliefs and stepping away from fear and scarcity and panic that can sometimes dominate our lives. So it's really about, I guess, growing out of our old self-limiting inner critical beliefs.
All right. Okay. So looking back where we've come from, it starts with your mindset.
Very
it
much
starts
so.
entirely kind of with adjusting that mindset and being more positive and setting yourself a goal, setting yourself a target and using some of those manifestation techniques to really try and turn it from just an intangible goal into something that you can and will achieve. So whether it's affirmations or journaling or vision boards or visualization or anything like that, but keeping it positive and keeping it present tense. And then the practical kind of steps in terms of setting up your savings account, giving it a nickname to link it to this whole kind of project, and then brainstorming your ideas. And whether that is kind of selling stuff, looking around your house, see what you can make some money from, doing surveys, mystery shopping, which is one that I'm going to be doing. So if you do see me coming into a shop, you can suspect that I am in fact there to inspect you and see how you're doing in terms of customer service. Look at what you can rent out, whether it's clothes, as in your wardrobe, or your car, or a spare room, your car park, your driveway. So many different options, a lot of different ways to make a bit of money. And when you do make that money, deposit it into your bank account that you've nicknamed and be grateful for it.
Yes.
Demonstrate gratitude because what you appreciate appreciates. Is that right?
Quoting Oprah.
There you go. I never thought I would end this episode by quoting Oprah Winfrey. All right. We've covered a fair bit. If people want some more and they want to see some videos and things of how you do this throughout the month, where do they find you?
Well, look, we'll pop in the podcast notes, if you're okay with this, Michael, the link to my free masterclass where I talk to people about this in way more detail and actually give you some really practical steps about how to do this for yourself and also how to protect yourself from people's negative, toxic energy as well, because that's also an important component of manifestation.
Excellent. And you can hear me every day with Sean Aylmer on Fear and Greed, Australia's best business podcast. Thank you for listening to How Do They Afford That? Remember, please, to hit follow on the podcast. Very important because it means that every episode just lands directly in your playlist every Wednesday and you won't miss one. Please leave us a review as well. Next week, serious topic next week. We are looking at problem gambling. We're looking at gambling and the impact that that can have on your finances and what to do if someone that you know, someone that you love might actually be in the grips of this, because it is a pretty terrible situation and can have a dire impact on your finances. An important topic. Don't miss it.